Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Jay and Susie Goosh Performing Arts Center, the Waltos Theater. My name is Christopher Hecox. I have the pleasure of serving as the executive director here at the Goosh Center. So thrilled to have you all here for this event. We're so honored and proud to be able to host this event annually, and thrilled for the amazing partnership the Goosh Center and Auburn University has with the city of Auburn. So thank you all for being here this evening. I'd like to welcome our mayor, Ron Anders, to the stage for the State of the City address. Thrilled again to have Ron here to be able to tell us all the wonderful things that are happening here at the city of Auburn this year and in the future. So without further ado, Mayor Ron Anders.
Well, good evening, and thank all of you for joining us this year for the 2023 State of the City. Thank you to the Goosh Performing Arts Center for hosting us tonight, and to everyone listening on WANI Radio, online, or here in person this evening. Also want to thank the elected officials that are here, starting with the members of our City Council. We also have members of the Lee County Commission, as well as our state delegation and staffers from our federal delegation. Thank each and every one of you for what you do for this community and for being here tonight. Thank also to the members of Auburn's boards and commissions that are here, including the Board of Education and the Planning Commission. Thanks also to Dr. Chris Roberts and the leadership from Auburn University that are here, and thank you for the great partnership that we enjoy every day. It's been another great year in Auburn. We've celebrated the new, the old, and the new, from the dedication of a commemorative plaque in the city's oldest park, Felton Little, to the opening of our newly renovated soccer complex. We've seen small businesses open throughout the town over the past year, contributing to our healthy local economy. The Auburn Chamber hosted 66 ribbon cuttings over the last 12 months, with some of those happening in the heart of our city, where we've seen new boutiques and restaurants open their doors. We welcomed a new urban format Target this summer, adding to our downtown grocery and shopping scene. And very soon, we will celebrate the opening of Lululemon on the first floor of the Standard. These additions to our community help further our goal of bringing quality amenities and walkable environments for our residents and visitors. We've continued to focus on infrastructure, as you've seen along Martin Luther King Drive and downtown near the intersections of Sanford Avenue and College and Gay Streets. Soon we will celebrate the opening of Will Buechner Parkway, named in honor of Auburn's fallen police officer, so that we never forget his sacrifice. In April, we welcomed Buc-ee's to Auburn, to the excitement not only of the community, but of I-85 travelers throughout the region. Located on exit 50 on Cox Road, this larger-than-life travel center brings new visitors and new revenue to Auburn every day. On a personal note, since we last gathered for this event, I have been promoted to the rank of grandfather. Pretty good. If there's anything that welcoming a granddaughter into the world has shown me, it's the importance of leaving this place better than we found it. The importance of building a future for the next generation. To build that future, we must be intentional. Behind all we accomplish helping us navigate Auburn's needs and wants are our community's master plans, created to address Auburn's roadways and infrastructure, our downtown, planning and zoning, parks and rec, cultural programming, and goals for our future. We lean on these plans that were drafted through community input and the expertise of city staff. Every goal and budgeted project we approve points back to them, underpinned by our visions and values for Auburn. They hold the answers to the questions of how and when and what. As for the why, that's you, our residents, and the quality of life we want for everyone who calls Auburn home. It is through these plans that we navigate this moment in Auburn's history. Auburn is over 80,000 strong and welcomes new residents every day. Auburn University has welcomed its largest freshman class to date. Our residents are here because of the things like the strength of our community, our public education system, our local business and independent restaurant scene. Our students are here because of the presence of what the U.S. News and World Report calls the best university in the state of Alabama. War Eagle. Our visitors continue to come for these reasons and the strength of our local tourism industry. Together, these fund the projects that come from those plans I mentioned that allow us to maintain and improve our infrastructure and our quality of life. Across the board, Auburn's major revenue sources saw significant increases over the last fiscal year. Revenue is up by almost $9.5 million, almost 8%. As people continue to shop and do business here, we find our sales and use tax collections, our largest revenue source, is up over 6%. Without our business community, Auburn would not be what it is today. We depend on the revenue generated from these companies doing business here. And I want to say thank you to our Auburn businesses for putting in the hard work to help make Auburn so special. Our second largest revenue source, occupational tax collection, is also up 9%, as well as our next largest source, business license fees, which are up 11%. More and more people are traveling to Auburn for events like the National Biking Championships at Shawaka State Park, professional conferences, local sporting events like the Auburn Soccer Invitational, the Super 7, and of course, Auburn University sporting events. As a result, lodging tax increased 24% over the last year. Of course, our job is to put those tax dollars directly to work in the services that the city provides. We have an award-winning financial and budget team that advises city management during the formation of the budget, which the City Council vets and adopts. We're currently in year 2 of the biennial budget. This year, the city conducted a mid-biennium review, and in September, this council adopted amendments to the current budget. This gives us an opportunity to account for how things are unfolding in real time and to plan for what we can see on the horizon before the biennium concludes next year. Some exciting opportunities to come have come out of that review process, including the decision to convert all of the lights at our city athletic facilities to LED, the allocation of an additional $2.5 million to go towards resurfacing city streets, and $2.4 million to fund the creation of a new passive park in North Auburn called Ann Pearson Park. This park, expected to open by next fall, will be located on more than 40 acres on Shelton Mill Road. It will include trails, a pavilion, restrooms, and a play area. This park is happening because of the generosity of the late Ann Pearson, a beloved Auburn native who was a strong advocate for her city and its history. It would not be possible without a strong relationship with the Auburn University Real Estate Foundation that was initially granted this land from the Pearson estate, and the generosity of a private benefactor. Thank you. Ann Pearson Park will join in other recreation projects, both recently completed and newly begun. The expansion of our Wire Road Soccer Complex is now complete, and we hope to celebrate this occasion with a grand opening very soon. This project added 3 turf fields striped for multiple sports and a 56,000 square foot enclosed multi-purpose complex. This indoor facility is designed for futsal, basketball, and volleyball, and can be used for large events such as the city's ever-popular Daddy-Daughter Date Night. It will even serve as a new voting location for Ward 8. This meets a huge need for our athletes and their families. Last year, we had 975 kids registered for our Spring Youth Soccer League alone. We hosted 2 soccer tournaments that involved 130 teams, and this just scratches the surface. Local lacrosse teams are picking up steam and will be using these fields alongside soccer. Our ever-growing number of youth basketball players will be making good use of the indoor playing space. Like our other rec leagues, we're seeing an increase in youth basketball registration, with nearly 1,250 players registered for our upcoming Winter League. The Boykin Community Center and the Frank Brown Rec Center see heavy basketball activity, and users of these facilities will be happy to learn that both of these gyms are now air-conditioned, an upgrade that we saw over the past year. We began construction this year on the Lake Wilmore Community Center located off Ogletree Road. This exciting new complex will provide us with 2 full-size basketball courts, activity and fitness rooms, an indoor walking track, 12 covered and lighted pickleball courts, and 2 pools, a lap pool as well as a covered and seasonally heated zero-entry pool. In 2024, we intend to start construction on its second phase, where we will add 4 newly lighted multi-purpose athletic fields with synthetic turf to support year-round sports activities and programming and provide some much-needed space for football, including the burgeoning game of girls flag football, along with 6 more pickleball courts. Aside from recreation, Lake Wilmore will also provide a more convenient voting location for Ward 7. We are also working to accommodate growing numbers in our arts and cultural programming. We expect to complete the Jan Dempsey Community Arts Center expansion in January, which will add 8,000 square feet of needed studio, classroom, and gallery space, as well as the ceramic studio, which will move out of the Dean Road Recreation Center, allowing that center to better accommodate Auburn's ever-growing therapeutic programs and to offer recreational activities, leagues, and social activities, field trips for citizens of all ages with special needs. As I think about these additions, I just want to say thank you to all of our city staff and community volunteers, including our Parks and Recreation Advisory Board, for your leadership in building up our youth by offering excellent athletic programs so popular that we're having to play catch-up with our facilities to accommodate their success. With over 7,000 in our athletic programs, these projects will take us a long way on a journey towards having the caliber of facilities that Auburn needs. Thank you. Just 5 days ago, we got to celebrate the reopening of the beloved Indian Pines Golf Course, renamed Pines Crossing. The City of Auburn is proud to partner with the City of Opelika to offer this amenity to our communities, and I encourage you to visit the newly renovated course and enjoy all that it has to offer. With so many projects underway, we have much to look forward to. Our environmental services and public works departments are moving to their new state-of-the-art facility on Wire Road, freeing up space at the existing location on Donahue Drive near the Boykin Community Center. For decades, this site has served as the hub for many of the services that are vital to keeping our city running, including right-of-way maintenance, emergency storm cleanup response, fleet maintenance, and collection of garbage, trash, and recycling. Once these departments finish moving to the new facility on Wire Road, the existing facilities on Donahue Drive will be replaced with new amenities. The redevelopment of the Boykin Donahue campus will transform the space into a recreation and cultural hub, as envisioned in the Parks, Recreation, and Cultural Master Plan. A branch location for the Auburn Public Library will bring expanded community space and resources to Northwest Auburn. And a cultural center modeled after the historic Rosenwald schools will be constructed on site. We have heard you. Plans for Auburn's first splash pad are also in the works for this campus. One piece of the existing environmental services complex that we wanted to keep centrally located for the residents is our 24/7 recycling drop-off center. Once our fleet services building is torn down, we'll begin construction on moving the facility from its current location on Donahue Drive directly across the street. This past year, we embarked on a major effort to provide better connectivity on the west side of Auburn through the construction of a new roadway. Will Beekner Parkway will play a huge role in easing traffic congestion along Richland Road. The new connector road links Martin Luther King Drive near Webster Road to Richland Road near Creekside Elementary. A connection between MLK and Richland has long been on the city's major street plan, providing another point of ingress and egress for neighborhoods and public schools on Richland, as well as providing access to the property slated for future parks. Will Beekner Parkway is lined with a multi-use path that stretches the entire length of the road. This path will link to the multi-use path on Martin Luther King Drive, greatly extending pedestrian connectivity in the area. And speaking of connectivity, 2 projects to make Martin Luther King Drive safer and more walkable were in play this year. The new MLK multi-use path between Webster Road and the Shugjordan Parkway overpass was completed late this spring, and work began on a streetscape enhancement project between Shugjordan Parkway and Donahue Drive, which is expected to finish in early 2024. These projects will create a 2-mile route along Martin Luther King Drive into downtown Auburn. The streetscape project will also create a more appealing entryway into our community with pedestrian lighting, landscaping, and medians. While we were at it, we improved the infrastructure in this area, installing a new water main that improves fire protection services and water quality in this area. The multi-use paths were an outgrowth of the Northwest Auburn Neighborhood Plan, which was informed by heavy public input and stakeholder meetings. If you haven't been downtown lately, I'm proud to let you know that the South College and Sanford Improvement Project is substantially complete. How about a hand for that? While it's always a challenge to make large-scale improvements to high-traffic intersections, I hope you'll agree with me that the results are worth it. This entryway into our downtown core was in desperate need of both aesthetic and traffic flow improvements. The project completely overhauled the area, widening the roadways, adding new travel lanes, new traffic signals with a dedicated left turn arrows, pedestrian lighting, landscape medians, widened sidewalks, and a new pedestrian mid-block crossing on College Street. These improvements will serve downtown and the university campus well in the coming years. Work has already begun to make improvements on the at East University at Annaloo and Saugahatchee, which has long been a very difficult intersection. By the end of the spring of 2024, there will be a northbound and southbound left turn lanes on East University at Annaloo and a median on East University at Saugahatchee to only allow right-in and right-out turns onto East University Drive. And later in 2024, dual left turn lanes will be installed on North Dean at the East University Drive intersection. Anyone who goes through this intersection in the afternoon or evening will be familiar with the need there. And those who drive through the somewhat awkward four-way stop at North College and Drake and Gay Street will be pleased to know that it will be converted into a roundabout in the next year or so. That project will also include adding dedicated left turn lanes along Drake and College, constructing sidewalks, and installing pedestrian lighting in the area. In tandem with road projects to improve traffic flow, we continue to work towards a smarter traffic grid through our Traffic Control Center, which gives our engineers the ability to adjust signal timing based on traffic patterns. Through our Control Center, we can also respond to emergency situations, communicating with public safety to alter traffic flow and reroute vehicles from I-85 after accidents or other delays. Our engineering department is committed to using every tool that we have to maximize the traffic flow in our community. These are all examples of infrastructure projects that are designed to ease congestion and enhance safety. New and better traffic infrastructure remains a high priority for the city. Of course, it's not all about road building and renovation. We must also maintain the roadways that we have. That's why we're investing a total of $10.5 million in street resurfacing over the next 2 years. I'm always impressed at the magnitude of the services of our city staff that our city staff provides to our community. Each year I like to share some of the numbers that showcase the hard work of our city employees. Let's start with some trash talk. Over the last year, our environmental services department made 1.76 million stops. Say that again. 1.76 million stops to collect our household garbage, our recycling, and our trash. They collected nearly 18,000 tons of garbage, the equivalent of 156 blue whales. Recycling was up to 5.5 million pounds this year. And staff collected 12,000 tons of bulky items and yard debris. Our other public services departments have been working hard as well. Our public works crews maintain over 720 miles of roadway. 720 miles of roadway and 160 miles of sidewalk, repairing over 120 potholes and constructing an additional 8,000 feet of sidewalk. They kept our streets clean by collecting 7,400 bags of litter, and they maintain more than 2,600 acres of right-of-way along our roads. Our Water Resource Management Department treated 3.3 billion gallons of wastewater, averaging 9 million gallons a day. More than 10,000 people enrolled in our parks and rec programs last year. And more than 50,000 people attended special events like City Fest, Downtown Trick or Treat, and the annual Easter egg hunt. Our parks maintenance crews made sure all 2,208 acres of our parks were well kept and ready for daily public use. Over at the library, we're seeing major increases in circulation. You checked out over 610,000 items last year, a 78% increase since 2019. And while the circulation of our digital collection has grown 229% over the last 4 years, our physical collection still accounted for 80% of overall circulation. More than 30,000 people attended library programs in 2022. In our development services departments, our inspections department performed 20,000 inspections, or nearly 80 inspections a day. On top of managing most of the city's construction projects, engineering services partnered with Water Resource Management to inspect 415 detention ponds, and they maintained 527 pedestrian lights and 72 signalized intersections. They also installed, or will install soon, 97 new pedestrian lights on our community's roadways. Our planning department processed almost 500 requests, which includes requests for annexations, zoning certificates, and rezonings. Our community services department supported more than 1,000 seniors and 600 youth through our city's community development block granted funded programs. These funds also helped rehab 5 houses, provided more than 1,000 individuals and families with housing assistance, and helped construct 3 affordable homes in the new Tucker Heights subdivision. In public safety, our police officers work just over 234,000 hours to protect our community. They perform more than 125,000 security checks and work diligently with federal agencies to build up a new ballistic forensics program to help reduce gun crimes. Auburn Fire responded to more than 7,000 calls, with many being medical emergencies our firefighters are trained to respond to and provide life-saving assistance. They also completed 2,200 life safety inspections at local businesses, schools, and apartment complexes to better protect and respond to fire emergencies. Our emergency communications team heard your calls for help, processing over 360,000 incidents. And even with the incredible growth of our community, we saw a decrease in the number of traffic accidents last year. Our economic development team continues to bring high-quality companies to our community and has been successful in the last year in recruiting and supporting local expansions. We announced 2 new company locations and 6 company expansions in fiscal year 23, bringing in 359 new jobs and $268 million in capital investment. The Industrial Development Board will soon begin construction on a new business center at the existing Auburn Center for Developing Industries that will be a comprehensive center for business innovation and training in areas greatly needed by our pioneering startups and industry partners. This project wouldn't be possible without the support of our federal delegation, especially Congressman Mike Rogers. And I do want to thank them for the work that they do for Auburn and for all their constituents in Alabama. I'd also like to tout some numbers from Auburn City Schools, now number 3 on the list of best school districts in Alabama by niche.com. This year, Auburn High School had a 96% graduation rate, with 713 seniors graduating with more than $25 million in scholarship offers. Outside of academics, students continue to be plugged in, with 1,200 student athletes, 224 marching band students, 180 show choir participants, and 85 theater students this past year. More than 1,400 students are preparing for their futures by investing time in career technical education courses. And these are just the accomplishments of our public schools. The Auburn community also has an excellent and growing selection of private schools with additional accomplishments to make local parents proud. The facts and the numbers that I have shared are impressive on their own, but I hope you'll agree that the story they tell is the real takeaway. because maintaining our quality of life as we grow requires being intentional about where we're headed. I know this statement resonates with many of you based on what you have told me. So how do we do this? I'll tell you, it is an ongoing, collaborative effort that involves a lot of planning and data and discernment. As a collaborative effort, we must have great partnerships. That's why we work so closely with Auburn University. The Princeton Review recently named our town and gown relationship with Auburn University number 2 on its list based on student ratings of how well the two entities work together. It's really number 1, for the record. Our partnership extends into many areas, touching public safety, shared infrastructure, research, athletics, the arts, business startups, the airport, parks and recreation, and so much more. This year, Auburn University welcomed the largest freshman class ever and is embarking on exciting new projects, including a new STEM and agriculture complex along West Sanford Avenue, as well as a new College of Education building. We will continue our active relationship with AU that involves everyone from President Chris Roberts to the students and includes regularly scheduled meetings between city staff and AU facility staff as we continue serving this community. We look forward to working together with you on hosting the Iron Bowl in our community in just a couple of short weeks. Thank you, Auburn University. Collaboration with East Alabama Health has provided Auburn residents with emergency care and outpatient options within the city limits, thanks to the Auburn Medical Pavilion that opened in 2021. The facility includes a freestanding emergency department, outpatient imaging and lab services, a surgery center, as well as a breast health center, recently named a Breast Cancer Center of Excellence by the American College of Radiology. Last year, the freestanding emergency department saw record high numbers for its new facility, treating nearly 24,000 patients, including the mayor. Keep this facility, located off Shug Jordan Parkway in the Auburn Research Park, in mind next time you're in need of emergency services. These are just a couple of the many great partnerships that we have. They include our relationships with our state and federal delegations that work hard for us every day, our relationships with other cities in the state and with the Lee County Commission, our partnerships with the Auburn Chamber of Commerce, Auburn Opelika Tourism, and the Lee Russell Council of Governments, and many more. On the planning and data side of this equation, we must continue to focus on long-range plans that guide us, including our major street plan, the comprehensive water and sewer facility master plans, and Comp Plan 2030, the comprehensive plan for the city of Auburn. The Planning Commission and the City Council look to these when making recommendations and decisions on future growth and proposals. The Comp Plan focuses on how we use land in Auburn, now and in the future, and pulls together data from water utilities, sewer lines and treatment capacity, our major street plan, the Auburn Interactive Growth Model, the Parks and Rec and Cultural Master Plan, public safety response times, garbage collection routes, and floodplain maps. This plan is informed by data and built on a foundation of public input gathered from public meetings, focus groups, stakeholder interviews, and public comments. We have specific plans for certain areas of our town, like with the Renew Opelika Plan, Renew Opelika Road Plan, the Downtown Master Plan, and the Northwest Auburn Neighborhood Plan. Each developed with significant public input. These guide our efforts to develop multimodal infrastructure and encourage quality development and redevelopment to help realize the potential of each of these areas. And we never want our plans to go stale. They are living and breathing guides that we lean on to make informed decisions about our present and our future. Our comp plan was last updated in 2018, and this year our planning staff has been collaborating with all of our city departments to review and update it, a process we go through every 5 years. We just had, Monday night, a work session with the City Council and the Planning Commission to review aspects of this plan and talk about Auburn's future. And we will host public input sessions before we finalize the update. We're also in the middle of updating our comprehensive water and sewer facility master plans. Like the comp plan, they are updated on a 5-year schedule and establish general guidance for 20-plus years, focusing on our water and sanitary sewer planning needs. To help us implement these plans and policies, we have our zoning ordinance that regulates development and land use throughout our community. While it is a legal and a technical document, staff is working to evaluate and potentially update our zoning ordinance to make it more understandable for all citizens and property owners, to ensure it gives us the very best tools to realize the community's vision for Auburn, and to encourage and allow more creative developments and designs. As we talk about planning for the future, we'll have several key initiatives underway over the next year, and we need your help. We recently kicked off a branding initiative with focus groups and stakeholder interviews. We need your input to be sure that our branding truly represents Auburn. I encourage you to visit theauthenticauburn.com to learn more about this effort and participate in the community-wide survey that is currently available. And in 2024, it will be our time to begin anew our long-range planning process that holds our collective goals and vision for the city for the coming years. This plan, known as Auburn 2040, will pick up where the Auburn 2020 plan left off and will be a grassroots, citizen-led plan and a foundation for our future. I'm proud to begin this effort in the new year. Applications to be a part of Auburn 2040 will open in January, and we anticipate launching the initiative in the spring. We've talked a lot about numbers tonight. We've talked a lot about budgets and projects and plans. But everything I've told you tonight comes down to people. It's been about excellent public servants and their hard work. It's been about passionate residents providing the input that we need to set the direction of those services. It's been about partnerships, not between institutions, but between people. It's people that make Auburn great, plain and simple. Each year, we have the privilege of coming together for the state of the city, and I want to thank each and every one of you for taking time tonight to be here. Now, I would like to share with you some of the people that have gone above and beyond towards making Auburn the very best town it can be. Many of you heard me tell this story before, but the famous author Robert Louis Stevenson. As a child, his mother found him at night upstairs looking out the window, and she could never get him to go to bed, to go to sleep. So one night she went up there and she spied on Robert to see what was going on and what he was so curious about that he watched outside. She snuck up behind him and she looked, and she saw the lamplighter going down their street, lighting the lamps in their neighborhood, in their city. She asked her son, "Robert, why are you so interested in this? It's just the lamplighter lighting the lamps." And he said, "No, Mom, he's punching holes in the darkness." In the next few minutes, I'm going to introduce you to 6 people who, on behalf of all of us in this community, punch holes in the darkness. As I call your name, we'll ask that you come forward. If you'll walk to this side of the stage right here, a member of the Gooch staff will direct you onto the stage. And once you come to the stage, you'll receive your recognition, and please stay with us here in the chairs. For all the family and friends, please know afterwards we will go out into the lobby and take pictures. The Gooch Center has professional performances they got to get ready for this week, and they need us to move on. So who does the work that nobody else wants to do? Not who will do, but who wants to do. Not only wants to do, but does so with a positive attitude and always a smile. A local principal says that he comes to work each day with a smile on his face and a spring in his step. He begins to make a positive impact with his very first interaction. It's difficult some days, maybe every day, to get started with a positive disposition. Of course, this is a challenge because the focus many times is on ourselves and not others. Again, this local principal says hello, asking about the person he is meeting, and honestly intending to make that person feel seen. Do any of us want to make a person feel seen first thing in the morning? After 25 years at the Opelika Housing Authority, He was hired by Auburn City Schools to work at Yarborough Elementary School. There he took on all the tasks, no matter the size. He was described as one who took pride in his job and always had the property and the building prepared for the next school day. He was a part of the staff and a part of their team. After 5 years, he retired again. But 2 years later, he answered the call to return to Auburn City Schools, this time in the central office. An employee observes that he does the work of 3. Another employee there says he helps without having to be asked. Serving as a maintenance supervisor and a courier and a custodian at Auburn City Schools central office might give someone an excuse not to smile and not to be grateful and not to genuinely care about others, but not tonight's first lamplighter. He served his country initially in the United States Army. He has served our neighboring community through the Opelika Housing Authority, and he has served our children, our families, our teachers, our administrators at Auburn City Schools. The late Jackie Robinson said, "A life is not important except in the impact it has on other people's lives." Our first lamplighter impacts everyone, even first thing in the morning. His impact can be calculated one school day at a time and one smile at a time. Our first lamplighter tonight is Mr. Charlie France. Loyal, dependable, humble, and reserved. Every organization needs people who carry these attributes into their work every day. The people who are behind the scenes are just as valuable as those who are the recognized faces of our organizations. They undergird the efforts of the developers and the creators and the deal makers. Without these dependable partners, many of our accomplishments would be built on sinking sand. Since 1949, the Auburn Chamber of Commerce has served the Auburn community. Today there are almost 1,200 members. These members are individuals and small businesses and nonprofits and large businesses and institutions. The Chamber leads our business community and others in a multitude of approaches. They meet the member where they can provide the most assistance. Networking, educating, information, advocacy, promoting, and celebrating. It's a lot, and it's needed, and the staff resembles a smiling bunch of busy bees, always hosting and talking and watching. Behind all of this energy is our next lamplighter, overseeing the financial activities of a 1,200-member entity. Guided by her faith, forged by a lifetime of service to her hometown, she has spent the last 28 years working at the Auburn Chamber of Commerce. She never sought a thank you. She does her job with professionalism. A local business leader made this comment. She truly is the glue to so many things at the Chamber. Her organizational skills and calm demeanor have kept many small emergencies at bay. She's loyal and quiet and reserved and dependable. every day. When she first started with the Chamber of Commerce, one of her jobs was to call the board and remind them of the meetings and the activities. Can you imagine doing that today? Calling everybody and reminding them? She called and left a message with Gene Dulaney, great guy, four-time member of our Auburn City Council. Gene was at lunch and he came back from lunch and there was a note on his desk, and the note said, "Tarantula called and said to remind you that you have a chamber meeting." She's not an ambush predator for sure. She's not scary looking, nor does she have a scary disposition. She's just hardworking, and she's fair, and she's loyal. She served Gail and Lolly, and now she serves Anna. We all would like to be a tarantula at times, if we were honest, but not her. It sounds the same, but it could be further from the truth. The character of our next lamplighter is one of a wonderful person. Our next lamplighter is Miss Tangela Todd Frazier. An old rundown house, once a location of a family that lived life there, worked, they did their homework, invited friends over, and celebrated holidays. We have seen time and time again in our community that these type of structures end up housing college students. Cheaper than the new modern accommodations, these locations appealed to those sometimes on a stricter budget. And sometimes, maybe many times, the condition of the house impacts the care and concern of those who temporarily reside there. Not that long ago, one such house was available near downtown. Historic by use, bones were in good shape, but appeared tired to the human eye. Recently occupied by a group of Auburn University male students who very much appreciated its unique charm and its place in a quickly changing community. They prayed for its existence. They petitioned the city for its future. And they utilized an often conceived strategy of save the Ross House. Through negotiations with its owner, soon an old home with an uncertain future became a beacon of hope and fellowship and prayer and coffee. Our next lamplighter opened the Ross House Coffee and Roastery in 2018. Her sons had reached a stage of independence, and she had a dream to follow an entrepreneur's desire that serves today as her ministry, a ministry that includes 2 locations and 40 employees. Her employees are her family. She loves them, every one of them, all the time. The story of the prodigal son is a story of a life in disarray, a life of ignored opportunities, a life of little hope. Just as the father welcomes the son back, she welcomes broken lives into her business. Their fatted calf is her business. Her ring is their paycheck, and her love and commitment is their celebration. We see a coffee house. She operates a ministry. We see a successful small business owner. She is following her calling. We see workers. She sees lives that need saving. We see coffee. She shares compassion. An old house, once full of life. The old house now today, full of changed lives. Our next lamplighter is Miss Toni Holt. According to the National Golf Foundation, 25.6 million people played golf in 2022. This is an increase of 500,000 participants. Golf is found to be important for the following reasons. It's mentally challenging. It can be played by individuals of all ages and stages. It's outdoors and creates good exercise, great fellowship, character building. You can do business while you play golf, and you can also relax. Our area is blessed by 3 private courses, a celebrated public course, and as of last Friday, a brand new municipal course, Pines Crossing. The project to rebuild the former Indian Pines Golf Course was created by the need for an extended safety runway at the Auburn University Regional Airport. There was only one option for this extension, right into the heart of our municipal golf course. Blessed by additional property on site, a new design was created, resources obtained from multiple partners, and the dream of a new bi-city amenity mandated by transportation safety protocols commenced. Over 40 years ago, a young man from Slocum, Alabama, arrived in Auburn to seek an education and a path to his future. Best known as the home of the Slocum Tomato Festival, Slocum is a small community in South Alabama built around agriculture and the lumber company that its town's founders started. Our next lamplighter began serving Lakeview Baptist Church 42 years ago. This began a lifetime call to labor for the kingdom that included multiple roles involving youth in college and families. His work has impacted many, and those he has loved are scattered everywhere. One of the many tools he used was golf. Its pace, its environment provided a setting that encouraged camaraderie and fellowship. It's from these experiences that he felt the urge to pay his civic rent, and by serving on the Indian Pines Recreation Authority. This is a board of 5 citizens, 2 from Auburn, 2 from Opelika, and 1 appointed at large by the 4 other members. Tonight's lamplighter received an appointment from the Auburn City Council for 2 terms, and then was appointed as an at-large member by the other 4 members. This was not an easy community volunteer role. He oversaw a multi-million-dollar overhaul of a municipal golf course. Tonight, I publicly admit that we took a career minister and made him a project manager. But like his life, he committed all that he could to oversee this once-in-a-lifetime project. He saw this as he sees his other calls. It's about serving others, in this case, multiple communities. This man has made a life of digging in and not giving in. In spite of life's difficulties, he plows ahead. In spite of life's troubles, he moves forward, never backwards. This responsibility was not easy, but he never complained. He brought challenges to the city leadership, but he never wavered in his promise to his community. For over 40 years, he has fulfilled his promise, his calling. He has pursued the lost and comforted the hurting, and he has cared for his people. Many times these actions occurred at the golf course. The prophet Isaiah responded to this question, "Whom shall I send, and who will go for us?" with this simple response, "Here I am, send me." He arrived in 1979, and he has done what he has been asked to do, from minister to construction, from tomatoes to golf. Here I am, send me. We are all blessed that he answered his call. Our next lamplighter is Mr. Cliff Knight. A spirit that is not afraid. This familiar statement comes from the 4th stanza of the Auburn Creed. We've seen this etched into our buildings and printed on t-shirts and hanging on our walls. It identifies an Auburn woman or man as one who will never give up. Athletics and business and academics and the military have all carried this torch as Auburn grads assume positions within these and many postgraduate vocations. We see it personified every Saturday as our Eagle makes its flight to the center of Pat Dye Field. The words before, "A spirit is not afraid," are these: I believe in a sound mind in a sound body. In 2012, our next lamplighter was diagnosed with ocular melanoma, eye cancer. At the time, she was raising 4 children, fighting a battle versus a determined adversary. This type of cancer is found in almost 3,500 American citizens annually. It's not common, but it's just as mean. Their family lives by the Red Sea rules. The enemy is closing, the water is deep, the options are limited, but the Lord will meet us where we are. As Moses led his people through the Red Sea, she confidently waits for God to lead her through the next battle with this enemy, and the next, and the next. Her path for recent treatment was decided upon in Philadelphia, the Thomas Jefferson Hospital. This included multiple visits, weekly trips. She was accepted into a trial with a hope and a prayer, but the Red Sea rules. A spirit that is not afraid and never ceases. These trips have become outreach efforts. This is a person whose demeanor is always as bright as the sun and whose personality resonates, just as you would expect from a former warrior girl. In her mind, this wasn't about her. It was always about them. So who is them? Miss D. At the cafeteria that she always went to, our next lamplighter, Miss D, would sit there by herself at a table. So she sat down and made a friend with Miss D. The two ended up sharing the same birthday. They had the same career, and today they are friends. Who else is them? It's Christy and Eddie, her nurses, who purchased Outlive Cancer shirts from Coach Pearl's efforts and gave her a big old War Eagle and complimentary Southern drawl. Who is them? It's a regular Uber driver from another country who continues to provide her encouragement, scripture and other readings, and diet recommendations for her continued fight. And who else is them? It's the local group of friends and family who occupy their role as partner and helper to allow her to make every one of these trips to Philadelphia. They are there to help her, but instead they receive a lifetime of memories as they watch a special person care for all of those who are trying to care for her. Since 2012, her body has fought to be sound. She has lost one eye, but it was replaced by a heart made of gold. Her smile is a window into her soul, one where the Red Sea rules guide her future. Day after day, she cares and loves people in Auburn, in Philadelphia, at the airport, in her neighborhood, at diners, in treatment rooms. This War Eagle girl fights for a sound body with a spirit that is not afraid. The people she touches are always changed. The Red Sea rules never go away. Just look at her smile. Our next lamplighter is Ashley McCrary. Parenting, one of life's greatest joys, one of life's greatest challenges. We all love our children's exploits. We all pour our values into them. We do everything we can to provide for our kids. Us parents attempt to have everything about our children under our control until they're sick. Then we fret and we worry, and sometimes, maybe a lot of times, we panic. Our next lamplighter started his work in his life as an accountant, but the call into practice medicine never went away. So he came back to Auburn, received a pre-med degree, attended UAB, did his residency at Duke, and then came back to Auburn to practice medicine, a doctor of pediatrics, but most importantly, a servant for our children. His hobbies include bike riding. In fact, he has proclaimed his prowess as the climbing stallion and his love for the Auburn Tigers. He is known to protect that love by instituting a healthy dose of pessimism as each big game approaches. One friend believes this all started when the Tigers failed to sign Tommy Brooks, his all-time favorite Auburn football recruit. Tonight, we recognize our final lamplighter, not for his interest, but for his passion. A pediatrician who served this community for 35 years. His intelligence is only surpassed by his wisdom. A fellow pediatrician said he was a model for her own practice. His calm demeanor in the presence of nervous parents was admired and followed by all who shared his space. He kept a list in his pocket, always, of people he needed to check on. And there was never a function he would not depart from if a child needed his care. His patients were his priority. Younger doctors were availed an advanced degree in composure and concern and communication and care every day in his clinic. He was so admired that in 2018 he was recognized by the Department of Pediatrics and Children's of Alabama with the Wallace Alexander Clyde Distinguished Service Award. This is presented to those outstanding physicians who have devoted a lifetime of service to children and their families. One doctor receives this award each year. He was the one in 2018. His calling for children includes every child, every single child. Race, nationality, economic status mattered none. These are the children of his God, the children of his community, and he was going to serve them no matter what. He was a leader in his practice, and a leader in his hospital, and a leader in his church, and a leader in his family. His kind, encouraging words combined with a great sense of humor made him a person that our community gravitated towards. One of his best friends calls him an amazing asset to his community. An amazing asset. A model for another doctor's professional journey. A mentor for younger physicians. A leader in his hospital. A recognized professional who received the highest honor a pediatrician can receive in the state of Alabama. The sometimes pessimistic Auburn supporter was for many parents the always optimistic medical provider. He converted his calling from God to care for our children. He invested in those around him, especially those following his path. Aren't we glad he decided to not be an accountant? Our final lamplighter, Dr. David Smalley. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please stand and give these great six citizens another round of applause? Thank all of you for being here. I want to thank the Goose Performing Arts Center for allowing us to hold this event in their facility. What an honor it is to be here on their stage. I want to thank Cynthia and Allison and David and Nick for supporting me and helping us get this project on the road. And here tonight, they do a lot of work behind the scenes to make this happen. Thank you to all of you. I want to thank Rachel again for being up here and helping me. I want to thank everybody that took time away from their family tonight to watch and to listen. I always tell people Auburn is not a perfect community. But when you hear the stories of these people, you know why we're a great community. And that's why I'm bullish on Auburn's future. There's a lot of great reasons that we're a great town and people are moving here every day. And we're working as hard as we can to plan for those people to move to our community. Our people are our best asset. Plain and simple. Our best asset are sitting in this audience and sitting on this stage, and we're all blessed. I hope all of you have a happy Thanksgiving and a Merry Christmas. Thank you for being a part of our community, and have a good night.